When you're designing products, it's inevitable that you'll have some regrets. And as I think back on the business journey and I think about all the decisions we made and the products that we created, I'm extremely proud of the team and the things that we've accomplished. But that road is marked with many different product stories that are full of regret. And the first thing I want to say is, look guys, this is going to be a video where I'm talking about some of the things that I wish I wouldn't have done regarding product development inside the business. But the reality is it's impossible for us, or I should say this, it's not impossible for us to focus on the past. We shouldn't be focusing looking backwards at the mistakes and the regrets, because all of us have them. It doesn't matter what you're doing in life, you have those regrets. We've all made mistakes. And at the end of the day, none of our business journey has been perfect or free of pain or free of mistakes. But when I'm talking about products specifically, there's a couple things that stand out in my mind that are somewhat comical in a way, but also at the same time I look back and I'm like, man, if I knew what I know now, I would have done it completely different. So the first thing that I wanted to say is one of my biggest business product launch change regrets that I have is when we ended our 20-inch round base. And that's probably not shocking to you guys that are sort of like OG followers of TA Targets. You guys know that when we launched the company, we launched round bases. And at the time, nobody else had a base that was round. So immediately when you saw a product with a round base that was a steel target, you knew that was a TA Targets product. And we had some major changes going on. We had some design ideas back around 2021, 2022. And so we decided to launch the breakdown base. And the big mistake that I made when launching that breakdown base was I ended our 20-inch round base. And the problem with that is people began to identify with that 20-inch round base. And so basically I screwed so many people out of a base that they loved. People loved the round base, and don't get me wrong, we have sold a ton of these breakdown bases, but at the end of the day, the 20-inch round base was a proven design. It had a track record. We'd been selling it from 2015 up through 2022, and there were some changes and things like that. We made some alterations, but at the end of the day, it was the same base, and I shut it down and cut it off with the breakdown base. You know, I made the mistake of thinking people really just wanted a base that was cheaper, and the breakdown base is actually a less expensive base to purchase, and I assumed that that was what people wanted. And again, the breakdown base, it's a phenomenal base. It's the one I'm building right now. But at the end of the day, it didn't check every single box for every single customer. So that is my #1 product regret that I have in TA Targets. I wish I would not have ever shut down the 20-inch base. I wish we would have just kept it going and we would have just allowed people to buy them the entire time. So that was a case in point of me learning a really hard lesson and basically having hundreds of customers say, hey dude, you messed up. You need to bring back the base. And it was funny because the moment that we relaunched the 20-inch base, we had people buying them by the skid. And that really to me was like, man, what a mistake. Okay, so that was #1. #2, the big mistake that I regret. When we started TA Targets, we started with AR500 systems and we tried to be more budget friendly. What we learned though is to differentiate the company and do something a little different. We had to move into AR550 and focus in on basically legacy products that are meant to last forever. That's how we could differentiate. We could do business a little bit differently. So we basically phased out our AR500 systems that started the company. We moved into AR550 and we never looked back. And that's great because it built a name for TA. It helped people understand who we were as a company. But the problem is we isolated so many different people. And so over the years, what I came to find is there's a segment of our population that believes in our company, that follows our pages, and we basically had a product that was too expensive for them to purchase. And I didn't do that intentionally. Our objective was to create something that lasts forever. But when we're isolating a part of the population that I care about, ultimately I feel like I'm not doing my job. If our vision is to inspire individuals to become capable providers and protectors, yet through my product design, I'm isolating a very, very large segment of the population, I felt like I wasn't doing my job and I wasn't doing a service to everybody that supported us over the years. So where I'm going with that is I wish we would have launched the Genesis brand, the Genesis line of targets sooner. If you don't know what the Genesis line is, it's an AR500 line of steel target systems. and they are more budget oriented. They aren't as high performance as the premium line, guys, and I can't stress that enough, but they are still a safe, high quality system. They'll still last you forever if you use them properly, but they're a lower cost of entry, and it just allowed so many people to get into steel targets, and we launched them over summer of last year, and the results of that were amazing. We had a lot of good feedback from that. So that was a very eye-opening experience to me, because we knew that our product line was expensive, but what we found out was it was definitely isolating people and making it really hard for people to be able to support us. And that's a mistake. It was something that I look back on and I regret it. I guess the third thing that I would say with our products, the big regret that I have, is we just launched our premium line with a more budget-friendly base. And again, this kind of comes back to this full circle mentality that, guys, I want you to train on the steel targets. And do I want you to buy them from us? Yes, I do. I really do, because I believe we make the best product. I believe it's the product that you can invest in, and on top of that, you can use forever. And that's an important distinguishing trait, a characteristic of our systems. That's why I think buying ours is so important. However, I recognize that for so many people, it's still impossible to get into the premium side of our target systems, even though they're worth the money that you would spend on them. So what we just did is launch our Genesis base with our premium Exodus line of targets. And what that did functionally is get our prices down almost to the point where they were in 2019 and 2020. And that is substantial. Again, now we get to have somebody train on the high quality steel with the lifetime warranty that they want to, and they can save some money on the base. And at the end of the day, if you decide you want a different base later, now you have options. So like, part of that regret to me is not giving everybody every option. It's really difficult as a business owner with processes, procedures, with manufacturing SOPs and standards and quality control to offer so many variations. But when I restrict them and I limit people from doing what they want, like take this for example. There's people that want to buy the breakdown base with an 8-AP system. That's great. There's people that want to buy it with a 20-inch. We've had that option on our site. People wanted it with a Genesis base. It wasn't able to be done unless you piecemealed everything together and spent 15 minutes on our site. Same thing could be said with our 26-inch oversized base. You weren't able to do it from drop-down menus. And the same thing could be said with the extension for the breakdown base. There was no like quick button you could click to say, yeah, I want that C-zone, but I want it with a really big base. And again, it's just, I feel an obligation in my position to be able to offer you guys everything that is possible. But I do need to keep it within a realistic level, because the fourth bonus mistake that I've made in the past is basically chase products that are not viable, and along with that, not finished products. So that's kind of a 4 and a 5. We'll give you 2 bonuses in this video. I have a habit of getting ideas and getting things through to prototype, but then basically not getting them to the finish line. And so that's another regret that I have on this business journey. It's something that I'm constantly working through. I've made the mistake in the past of making what I used to call novelty targets, stuff that really didn't serve a training purpose, invested tons of time and money and energy to create a system that ultimately was a failure. We've had many, many things fail in this business journey. But I've also had good products that I sat on too long, like the Genesis systems, and I didn't get to the finish line with them and get them over the line fast enough. But on top of that, I'm gonna give you a 6th one. We'll give you a 6th one here. The Arachnid base. I wanna know from you guys, if you have made it to this point in the video and you have an Arachnid base, or you know what I'm talking about, I wanna know down below, should we bring the Arachnid base back? Because as I was sitting thinking of the regrets for this video, that's another base that we discontinued. And I sit here wondering, was that a good move? But you guys can let me know. I'm curious, which one stood out to you the most? Which one impacted you the most? Which one rang home to you the most? Is there anything that you guys want to see from us, hear from us, or see produced by us? Leave that down in the comment section. I hope these business stories help you, because ultimately the thing that's a real truth of this team is we are just humans behind the scene here. We are stressed out, running like crazy, navigating an economy that frankly wants to put every business out of business. So we are navigating really hard times just like everybody else. And I know we make it look good, and it's probably easy to look at us and be like, it's just another corporate thing. But we're a very small team of people that care deeply about you and care about our country, care about our communities. We want people equipped and trained. We want to see fathers stepping up and becoming capable for their families. And that is a core driving force behind what we do. But I just wanted to encourage you with that. We're just regular people trying to figure this thing out. So let me know what you guys think. I appreciate you as always. I've got some bass content to film, so stay tuned for that. We're gonna be talking about all of our different basses. See y'all in the next one.